Hello student Architecture 113 International Building Code. Today we will discuss chapter 14, 15 and 18. And in companion textbook we need to do for study section 15. In this chapter we will talk about exterior wall, covering, roofs and foundation. So you need to learn something about the wall, the roof one and the foundation. That means outside from the building. In the keys one, we need to talk about the weather resisting covering, the veneer, roofing assembly, roofing covering and rooftop structure, footing and foundation. In chapter 14, 15 and 18 textbook, International Building Code, the resource for this discussion. We need to know about the components from weather resistant wall envelope material, consider geography area for class A, class 1 and 2, vapor retarder or the flashing, the minimum requirement for thickness from the wood veneer for type from construction 1, 2, 3, 4 building, and about the fire cement, combustible exterior wall coverings, roof covering, roof assembly classify class A, class B, and after that more about clay and concrete tile, the shingle, that means the material from the roof one, how high from the penthouse, tower and spire, re-roofing address. So it's covered for the chapter. This is the table that lets you know the minimum thickness from the weather covering. For example, you have the type from the covering on this side on the first column, and this is the minimum thickness. They count for inches on the second one. So for example, we have aluminum siding, and you need the thickness minimum is 0.019 inches. And if you use for the cold roll cup, and you need 0.0216 for the thickness. This is the table to cover for the thickness from the material we use for the exterior wall. And the other table, this one, they let you know about the class 3 vapor retarder. And you can see on the zone from the marine 4, 5, 6, 8 or 7. And we need to do the class 3 vapor retarder permit for some condition like this. This is the table to talk about the wall assembly for you do for the design one retarder. This is one example, so you can see the chimney section cut from the flashing detail. This is the chimney, and you see this is the roof one, and they require for the number 30 for the felt one, the deck, and after that the rafter. That means we have the rafter from the roof one. Next one you need to do for the deck, and after that number 30 from the felt. And around the chimney we need to do the galvanized steel metal flashing and counter flashing. The other one you can see this one like the concrete block wall, and you can see outside like this, and you look at the section right here, you can see the concrete block is this one. And after that you need to rebar vertical one, and after that we need to reinforce horizontal. In here is the masonry. This is the masonry veneer. It's outside from exterior block wall. The galvanized is right here, so it combined on the concrete block wall together. Another section you can see the wood stock in the paper back metal lap. This is the section cut from that. You see this is the wood stock, and after that we have one layer, they call that the waterproofing, and after that cement plaster. Next one we have tie S for mortar, the one for crowding for this one, and after that the moisture, the clean surface for this one, masonry veneer outside. So this is an example from the block one, the section cut. And if you look at the top roof, you can see some of them they have design for the trend, and we have different one from the low points and the overflow trend. When the water come into the roof, this is the trend to get the water down. So they have the limits for 2 inches from low point to the overflow. So when the water hit with this point and this go to the overflow trend. Another one they use this is they call that the scoop berth in exterior wall. If you have exterior wall and you have the root trend at the low point already, and they have one more thing for exterior wall, a different is 2 inches, and they have 4-inch gap open dimension for the scooper exterior wall. All of them right here is make the roof not be overflowed with the water if the raining coming. And in this picture you can see the section cut from the flushing at the bearing wall. Bearing wall is the wall they have some kind of the support load and the loads to down to the foundation. You call that the bearing wall. This is the section from the bearing wall. This is the wall, and you can see that they have the wood nails skew right here. They have the fiber can strip is like this, and after that they have 2-inch nominal. It's from here to here is 2 inch. This one from here to here is 2 inches. Prime masonry wall, and after that they seal on the top flushing with the fabric or the mustard. And in this side they allow from the deck up to the mustard is 8 inches minimum. This material is they call that the base flushing. The fastener outside and 2 inches wide clip approximates 30 inches on the center. And the metal quicklets on there. This is one section for you can see the bare flushing at the bearing wall. This is the table to let you know the maximum allowable the roof height permit for the building with area gauge on the roof in area outside hurricane prone region. That the region have a lot of hurricane coming. They have the maximum from the roof height like this. The non-minimal design for the wing, the speed from the wing is a meter per hour. They have from 85 to 120. And if like that, you have the category B, C, or D. D is so so bad category. C is medium and B is normal. So that's why if you have the speed from the wing is 85 with the category B, you can do for the roof height is 170. But if the category D, you need 30 only for maximum height from the roof one. If C you have between, you have 60. When you increase for design from the wing until 120, and the category B, the height from the building is 15 only. And some of them on C and D, they not permit for you do that. That means the height is they not allowed to do even the height, how much from the height from the roof one. Another table they show you the minimum roof cover classification for the type of construction depend on the type from the construction and the category right here. So they decide for the covering classification. 1A you can use B, and if you have 5B you need to use C. C, C, and C. Unless otherwise they require for accordance with international urban design. So besides this one, we need to concern with the Wireland International Urban Interface Code for make sure that we use the right one for the type of construction and the roof covering. This is one example for you can see the roof assembly by wood. Lot A, B, C, they have the test like this. For class A, we have the branch, the 12 feet, and after that 3 inches. They have a branch like this, 12 inches long and 12 inches on step each of the tip one. Class B branch, they have 6 feet and 6 inches long only right here. This one class A is 12, but this one is 6, and after that class C they have 1.5 inches only. So that means all of them in the class is different, and depend on that they have the 5 clarification for each of the class 1 when we use the wood one. If you need to learn something about the material from the roof covering material, this is some the section they specify on that one. For example, you learn about build-up roof, you need to go with section 150710. If you go with asphalt shingle, you need to use for section 1507.2. So this the table just show you if you need to see more detail about the material from the roof one, you can use one of the section like this in the textbook. This is one example so you can see how many layers in the roof one. If you look at the single roof, you can see that they need to create like this. The first, they need to have from the wide from 36 inches, and after that they have the felt. They need to put it back on 19. They measure from here to here 19 and they put another layer. Come with that same thing. This one, from this one is the Y. You look at this, the Y is 36 inches. But you need to put over from that one until you have 16 inches wide. And you have another layer. They call that underlayment. And in the end, you can see that if you say 19 from you look over and 19 from the edge outside with the edge from the other one you added on, and if you do on the inside one, it's just 17 inches. After that, they sew stripe on here. They sew the stripe on the layer. Under that, they have approved self sealing shingle. That the shingle they have approved self sealing, or interlocking shingle. That in the shingle they have sealed already. And this one we have one kind from the wood shake application. If you have some piece of the wood like that and they have allowed for 15 inches or 18 inches, the wood shake or the wood shingle. Start in the course. This is you start from that one by 15 inches or 18 inches wood. And after that you have 2 inches overhang, 3/4 inches with the girder. The girder right here, and overhangs right here, you need to use 2 inches. That is the way how they got up underlayment to comply with ASTM D226, and this is type 1. The penthouse limitation. The penthouse is the ones in the top one you have. If you have the house, the type 1 contraction, they didn't limit for how high from the penthouse. But if you have type 2, 3, 4, and 5 contraction, and they have the limit for the penthouse is 28 inches maximum. Otherwise, they give 18 inches maximum only. So basically, depend on the type contraction, and the penthouse on the top on the roof one can be different height. 28 inches maximum for time 2, 3, 4, and 5 contraction. But if type 1, you don't need to limit anything. How high from penthouse is okay. And if you look at the floor plan, the penthouse should be limited on 1/3 from the area from the roof. This is the roof one. So if you have design for the penthouse and you need to limit, it's just around less than 1/3 from total area from the roof one. That's the plan view. And on the second picture, you can see that's how far from the setback if you want to do for elevation from the top, from the foundation. For example, this is the house and the foundation right here. If they have the setback is 30 feet in the setback right here, and it's dropped down from another level on the street, and you need to do that because this is the street, so they allow for 30 feet setback with the street. And this is the depth from that one for the elevation of the street with the girder at the points of discharge from the drainage water from the side. It's usually slope like this, and they give for 2% for this one. This is the one they create for foundation right here, and the slope one be the curve before you go with the street, and we need to learn like that. So basically, when you hear some people say setback, that means the distance from the wall, exterior wall, to the one they need to follow with the code one. A lot of city they give for 20 feet setback from the house to the street curve. but some city they ask for 30 feet, so depend on local area, we need to check with that. And this is the foundation elevation of the top from the footing. This is the elevation from the top from the footing. If you have the house and face with the footing look like this, and after that we have the slope, and they require for the maximum height, that means this house and the other house have the different height like this. You look at H is the different height between this house and this house, and they have a slope from the first one to the second one. The distance from the setback they need to count from the face of the footing to the slope one. They allow for x over 3. That means the height divided by 3. But if it exists, if it's more than 40 feet, we cannot allow that. So maximum is 40 feet plus h over 3 from the distance from the face from the footing to the slope one. And you can see that the distance right here from the face from the footing to this one is h over 3. And if the second one is start right here, the face from the structure with the face from the slope one, they have h over 2 and not over 15 feet maximum. So the distance from the face from the wall to the slope one, it should be less than 15 feet maximum. And after that is, if you call with the h1, it should be h over 2 for foundation clearance from slab to the house. Okay, so this one, if you look at this, you can see that's the footing. This is the footing. You can see that this is the footing. The minimum required for the depth below the grade is right here. Usually is for the plus on X and 24 for plus on A. They have the limits like this. This is one footing, and if you go up here, this is the slab one. The crown, the natural crown, it look like this, and they count from the top to the bottom from the footing, and they have greater than 1 feet to 10 feet from the top from the crown to the bottom from the footing. That's the level they need to measure from here to there, and they allow that 10 feet maximum. And from the crawling, they have no limits, but usually around 18 inches. This is one basic, so you can see one footing, the depth from the footing, minimum from here to here 12. That means the wide from the footing is 12, usually 12 inches square. And after that, they have minimum 12 inches, and below for the frost line. The frost line, the gray natural line. This is one of the example for the footing. So in the winter, the frost action can raise the ground level. So this is the frost, the frost line. So in the winter can be raised it higher wherever in this springtime. The same area with the soften and settle back. If the foundation are constructed on the soil that they have freeze and they haven't or vertical movement, they have some kind of movement like this, and with a rarely uniform can cause serious damage to the building and another structure. That means this one and the foundation, it depends on the frost line action, which is not a fake or the damage serious to the building if you follow the code one. The last one is the table. They show that the footing support for the wall with the live frame contraction. They have the number from the floor or the story to support for the footing. If you have one story, the width from the footing is just 12 inches and the thickness may be 6 inches. But if you have two levels, the increase for the width from the footing is 15 square feet, and after that the thickness is 6 inches also. 3 story, and the width from the footing is 18. So basically 12, 15, 18, it changed from first, second, and the third level. And the thickness right now they need 8 inches. So basically this is the standard one for the footing. When you design for 1, 2, or 3 level, how big from the footing is right here, and how thickness from the footing is right there. And This it depends on the type of construction. This is just a standard. It depends on the type of construction and the category, and the footing can be changed, the size. Follow that. So that's it, basically on of the chapter 14, 15 about the exterior wall covering, roof, and foundation. We need to finish the study section 15. We have three more lecture left. I try to do for this week and maybe next week to finish everything. And if some student can finish on of the homework, early, you can discuss with me about the early final. I have 2 rounds for the final, so discuss with me about that. Thank you so much for watching, and see you next time.